All right, now start.
Thanks. All right, everybody, welcome to the January general meeting. Happy New Year. Hopefully, there'll be better times this year than there were last. I always say there's something to hope for, so hopefully this will be a better year. Um, I have just a couple things for member news. Both of these were in the January newsletter, if you saw that. But we had a member, Linda Wicks, who was featured in the Little Bit, their newsletter, um, about all of her volunteer hours that she gives. And one of the things the article said that I thought was so interesting was that she has not been able to go to Little Bits and help in the warehouse this year, but that she has been doing a lot of knitting for them, and that she estimated that she had done about 130 hats last year for Little Bit, which to me is just, I can't even imagine. I don't even think I could do 130 hats in 3 years. So that was a really nice article about Linda, I thought. Um, Also in the January, I think it was in the January newsletter, um, we lost one of our members. It was Nancy Heron, Nan Heron, and she was also a Little Bit volunteer. And some of her friends had mentioned that it would be nice if people would like to knit a hat or two and donate it to Little Bit in her memory, which I thought was a nice way to remember somebody. Um, let's see. We have our general elections coming up, and Joni Weisberg was on our nominating committee, and we will be doing our election in March. So in February, you will see biographies from all of the people who are running for office. We have 3 officers who are staying on for their second terms. So that is myself as president. Education VP Kathy Schoenlaw is going to stay on for her second year, and Joan Rangel will stay on for her second year as Community Service VP. Standing for election, we have Samantha Matchis, who is our current treasurer and is going to stay on or is going to run for treasurer. She's just an interim treasurer for a couple of months until the election in March. Joanne, I'm going to say this wrong. Aisha Paul is running for secretary. Katie Holly is running for communications VP, and Eileen McKelvey and Joni Weisberg are going to run for co-administrative VP. So we will run the election like we did last year. We've got one election online under our belt. So you will get an email, and it will have everybody who's running, and you'll be able to vote, and we'll keep the voting open for a week. So I anticipate that we will send this out probably a week before our March general election. Everybody will have the week up until the meeting, and then at the meeting in March, we'll be able to swear everybody in. Last year, COVID hit, I think, in March, so we were delayed a couple of months. But this year, now that we've done it for a year, we've kind of got it under our belt. We should be able to have our election on time and done and ready for the March meeting. Let's see. I had one other thing I wanted to talk about. I know we've talked a lot about this year being the year of the scarf, and Joan will talk about that more, but we did have a member reach out and ask if the Guild could buy some new yarn for people who wanted to knit scarves. And at the board meeting, we agreed that we would do that. I have been out on Knit Picks looking to see if we could get some deals or sales, and they're fairly depleted in supply, I would say, because of Christmas. There's some out there, not as much as, we can pick some, and just not as much as I would have liked to have seen. So it may end up that I end up at Joann's or at Michael's if they don't get their stock back up. I liked that kind of yarn that we used for the hats that Pam Riley had purchased. It's kind of a between a worsted and a bulky. So I thought that would knit up a little bit faster than if we just went worsted weight. But again, their color supply was a little limited. So we are working on it. I'll let you know, and we'll set up a point like we've set up when we've picked up hats. We'll meet it probably at the headquarter library. And if you want some yarn, we'll give you a 2-hour window and you can come by and pick up yarn to knit some scarves. So we also do always have yarn that's been donated that hasn't been used, but if you'd like some of that, we'll have some of that available too. But we will purchase some new yarn and let you know when that's available. So hopefully sooner rather than later, but we'll see how everybody's inventory holds out. So I think that's all that I had. And next up will be Joan.
Hello. I just wanted to let everyone know that we achieved our lofty goal for our 35th anniversary hat challenge. The newsletter was published before we got the final counts. The final number is 30,545 hats. So thank you to everybody who helped participate. There were a lot of direct donations to charities, and at the last minute, I started reaching out to some of our prolific knitters. Jane was one of them, and some other people. Melba, you know, everybody was, I found 10 more hats. I found some, you know, everybody was digging into their stash. So we ended up with putting us over the final number at the very end of the year. So I want to thank everybody who helped us distribute hats, who helped make the hats. And I think I had a total of, well, in the newsletter, it has where the hats were donated. And I think we had, let's see, did I put how many? I'm not sure what the total number was, 47, 48 groups or something like that got hats. So thank you. Hats is something that we always still need. I'd like to get 1,500 hats this year. It's not as many as last year, but based on the demand by the groups that we've contributed to over the years, little bits, I like to see that they get 200 hats. There was another group that Flora is involved with that she said they service over 200 kids during the winter time. So, you know, we don't have any other groups that require a large amount that I'm aware of. We just try to do 50 hats for each group, if, you know, unless they don't need that many. So I want to challenge everybody again, but not anything like 3,500. We're just going to do 12 to 1,500 hats. And then, of course, it's also going to be the year of the scarf. We were contacted by a couple of different, one new organization, and then Covenant House also is in need of scarves, you know, I guess in the wintertime, but then also during the year. But the new group is Back at You. They provide backpacks, and one of the items that they want are home crocheted or knitted scarves to go with those. The requirements are between 6 and 8 inches, and they have to be 60 inches long enough to wrap around. And I finished one. I don't think you can really tell the detail, but I finished one, and this is based on the pattern that's in the newsletter. Of course, it was pointed out to me that I missed something in the newsletter because it's an odd number of stitches, where I say the row 1 is knit 1, purl 1. The very last stitch is a knit 1. So I'll have a correction in the next newsletter and post something on Ravelry. So for this pattern, which worked out very nice, it's like a mistake rib. You just knit 1 row, and the next row is knit 1, purl 1 across till the end, and you knit 1. And that was a nice one to make. I think I used 220 grams of bulky weight yarn to finish that scarf. But we're going to need scarves. Now, the Back at You group, they want to know what they have by early summer. So anything that you want to make for that group, the requirements are in the, or the specifications are in the newsletter. They want earth tones, dark colors, but they want those scarves by the beginning of summer. So I'm thinking May. Anything that for Covenant House, that doesn't have to be, Katie, I don't think that has to be dark colors. I think can be any colors. You can do variegated for any of these groups, but you know, if you want it to go to a specific group, just let us know when you drop those donations off. We'll probably start collecting things again, maybe March or April, or we can make arrangements to pick those scarves up just so we can get them to the groups. But yeah, again, it's probably more information is in the newsletter that you can look at there. And let's see, did I have anything else? Let me look at my newsletter. Yeah, I will be posting information on Ravelry about the scarf requirements and things like that. So we can, oh, I know the other thing. Riola Boyd and I always like to challenge each other with hats. And we decided to do that, but we wanted to have everybody else join us. But you don't have to make the same hat. So we picked the hedgerow hat that Casey designed. So that's the one that Riola and I are going to make for January. And then she's going to pick February and we take turns. But if somebody else wants to join in or share what pictures, what other patterns you have that you're making, just put those on the Ravelry forum under the challenge. There's my son. But that would be another fun way that we can, share patterns that you can find. So I think that's all I've got, unless I'm missing something.
Okay, thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
Next up will be education and Kathy Schoenlow.
Hi, everyone.
Kathy.
We have 2 online programs that we're going to show you this month. Both of them have to do with bind-offs. One is how to prevent your scarf from flaring, which I know if I've done it, and I guess others have finished off their scarves and then had the decide that was the end of the scarf flare. So I've got a quick tip on how to prevent that. And then the other one is a stretchy bind off, more suitable to a scarf or shawl, where you get more ease in there so you can use it. So both of those will be in this week's online presentation. We also bought and presented to Sandy Kulash a Greater St. Louis Knitters Guild bag. And I've got pictures of that, which I guess in the thank you note I sent, I think will be presented in next month's newsletter. So you should see that, but she was very appreciative. She gave us a ton of items that we'll be distributing somewhere in here in this year. But she was very generous with us, but unfortunately the shop is now closed. She's turned over the keys and it is no longer hers, but we will miss them a lot, I think. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Mary? Mary's going to talk about communications.
So I have just a couple of things here. On YouTube, we are now up to 47 subscribers. Yay!
Yay.
That's about 20 more than last month. So you guys have been getting people to join as I asked. I do have on Facebook a link to a video that shows you how to subscribe to our page. And the reason there's an advantage to subscribing is that you can set up notifications so you know whenever some cool new video has just hit our YouTube channel, okay? So that's out there, and that's great. Right now, 87% of our views in YouTube come from our Facebook links. So when I put something on YouTube, I try to put a Facebook link out there. So 87% of our views of looking at videos is coming from there right now. So if you have other places on social media you want to post this, that would be great. Right now, also 73% of our viewers are not subscribed. So they don't have the great benefit of knowing when something cool and new comes out, okay? Facebook is kind of our jewel here. We have 412 members. That's up 4% from last month, just from last month. And just so everybody knows, the most popular posts are finished objects. I put out a posting of a shawl that I just finished, and within 24 hours, I had like 30 replies. People are really interested in what's on. I mean, because we can't see each other, we don't go to knit-ins very much except some Zoom knit-ins. And so people really want to see what everybody's working on. So if you have something you finished, please put it out there and show it to us, because people care. People want to see it. They want to know what's going on. I don't have any stats on Instagram. I think Katie will tell you about that when it's her turn. And if nobody has any questions, that's all I've got for today.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, Katie.
Okay, so I just wanted to start with some membership news because that is technically my job as administrative VP, especially when we can't have social time. So we have lost some members in 2020, which I think is inevitable for any social organization. But I will say we're holding pretty strong. We have 189 members right now, which I think is pretty good considering that we haven't been able to get together in almost a year. So thanks to everyone who has, maintained their membership. We really appreciate you. And then also I did get from Beth our list of new members in this last quarter. So since September. So I was going to read those out and just welcome them. I do want to preface, I am the worst at reading names. I don't know if there's anyone worse than me. So if I mispronounce your name, I humbly apologize. I look forward to meeting you in person someday, getting your name right. Okay. So I want to welcome Sandra Humberg, Angela Fulton, Radhika Kamath, Annette Gast, who was previously a member and has rejoined, Chelsea Bass or Bass, Michelle Boyce, Ann Wagers, Erica Lauriello, and Barbara Whitman. So these are all people who have joined since September. And, thank you so much for joining our guild during COVID. If you're having fun now, it's only going to go up from here. So that's an admin VP promise for you. And then we also are still going strong on Instagram. We have 106 followers right now, which is great. All of our posts are still getting double-digit likes, which is awesome. I'm going to do a post with that final number that Joan gave us. Joan, if you can send me like an image of the thermometer, I'd like to use that picture maybe as the background of the post, the thermometer of us achieving our goal, which is amazing. Truly, I had no idea. I really didn't think we would do it. And I'm an optimist, but it just seemed like so many hats. So I'm really, really impressed and proud of everyone. And that is all I have. So let me unmute Samantha.
All right. Thanks, Katie. So Samantha's up next with the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Just a couple of things. I just want to let you know we filed our 990N with the IRS this past month. That's like the tax return for our organization. And then Katie's going to share, I don't know, I just thought like a visual would help rather than me just rattling off some numbers. But our finances are in good shape with our starting balance at $18,923.23. We did have some members join. And of course, everybody who is a current member in 2020 is not paying any fees, any membership fees for 2021. And we can do that because our finances are in such good shape. And then we just had some, normal expenses, stamps, and of course our Zoom, and then our Zoom membership, and then the lovely prizes that we had for our December bingo game. And then of course mailing those. And then, so our ending balance is $18,937.11. And of course, with very little income coming in 2021, we're gonna, that'll keep going down, but that's okay. And that's all that I had, unless somebody has a question.
Well, everybody's on mute, so.
Oh, that's true. Hey, I like that.
No questions.
No questions. All right.
You can ask your questions when we unmute everybody.
All right.
Okay, so that's all of the reports. We are going to show the two educational videos that Kathy talked about now. So Katie's going to get those ready and set. we'll do the 2 videos, and then we'll open everybody up and do show and share, and you can show us what you're knitting or have done. So.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. 1 second. All right, I'm gonna start with reduce flare.
Hi knitters. Today I'm going to explain to you how to get the flare out of a knitted scarf. What I have here is an example of a scarf I knit a while back, and you can see it's got a great deal of flare in it. And the cast on end doesn't have that much flare, but my bind off does. So I found a way to reduce the flare when you're binding off on a knitted scarf. So let me show you. What I have here is a different scarf. And what I've done is we start the bind off as we did before. So we'll bind, knit into a stitch, slip that to the right hand needle. And then we're going to knit into the second stitch and bind off like we normally do. And then what I do is I'm going to show you to reduce the flare. I've gotten knit away from the edge so it's a little crisper looking. Take the next 2 stitches that you would bind off and knit them together as you were. Put your needle in as if you were knitting 2 together. And then you're going to go around your right hand needle and bind off like that. And then you can continue so that you've got in this loop here, in this 1 stitch, you've bound off 2 stitches. And you can already see there's a bit of a cleanness, pardon my showing you this, but a bit more cleanliness in it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to continue all the way to the other end of your scarf. And when you get to about the 5th or 6th stitch, you're going to put your needle in as if you were going to knit 2 together, and then bind off those 2 together. And what that will do is reduce the flare in your scarf in a very simple technique. Thank you.
I do not want to watch crochet hacks for beginners. So I will start stretchy bind off now.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you a super stretchy bind off that is very easy, quick to learn, and you can see it on YouTube on Very Pink Knits demonstrations. But it's a stretchy bind off that I thought was particularly good for collars of sweaters or cuffs of socks. In this particular use, I'm using it on a lace shawl that I'll be blocking later. And so I began this, but what I'll show you is how this is creating a chain here. So it's a very nice edge on this particular pattern. I've already knit the 1st stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit the 2nd stitch. Put that through like that. So now I have 2 stitches on the right needle. Take my left needle and I insert it into the fronts of those 2 stitches. Knit through the back loop. And then pull that off the needle. So I'm back to 1 stitch. So I'll go do it again. 1 stitch here, knit the 2nd stitch, 2 stitches on the right needle, put your left needle through the fronts of those stitches, knit through the back loop on those 2 stitches, and that is how you do it. So I'll do 1 more and then I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah. Knit through the front of those 2. To the back loop. And this is an example of the stretchiness of this bind off. So this will be a nice bind off for something particularly with lace in it. So you'll have nice stretch, especially when I block it. There you have it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kathy. Those were great. That second one is so easy, and what a great result. I thought that one was going to be much harder, but it wasn't. Okay, Katie, you want to start taking everybody off mute?
Yes.
and we'll go through show and share. I can start while Katie's taking everybody off mute. I'm doing hats, so many hats. I finished a companion hat to my husband's, remember that sweater, but I just finished a cable hat that's like a companion hat to that sweater I did for him.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
It's called, kind of a funny thing, it's called Bulletproof Aran Hat. So the yarn, it's knit on a size 5 needle, and the idea is that it's completely waterproof and should outlast several lifetimes of people who would choose to wear it. And you're supposed to be able to, at the end of knitting it, if it stands up by itself, and this is balancing on my hand, and it does stand up by itself, so I guess I did it right. So that's done. And then I just made one more hat for my daughter-in-law's mom. It's one of those, hats that has it's got like a rib row, and then it's got some garter in the middle. And I bought these fun poms on Amazon, and they've got this little elastic band on the bottom of them. So for the hat, I've been putting on the inside, I've been putting a button on the inside. I don't know if you can see the button. I try to keep it close to the same color. And then I thread it through, and it just wraps around the button, so you can wear it with the palm or without. And when you want to wash the hat, you can just this elastic band just comes off from around the button, and you can wash the hat without worrying about ruining your palm. So
I really like that idea. That's cool.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them on Amazon before Christmas. I just went out and found them, and then when I read the thing, I was like, oh, that's so much better than trying to sew it on. And it's really, they're kind of fun. They come kind of smushed, and you just get your blow dryer out, you just blow dry them, and they kind of puff up, and it worked out really nicely.
I think I got the same ones, Sue.
Yeah, they come in a big bag. Yeah, they're really nice.
They are nice.
They look good. They look really good on the hats. So, all right, Katie, did you have anything you wanted to show? Because I skipped over you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, and then I'll call on people. Not to be teacher, but it goes so smoothly.
Just ask her.
I'm definitely bossy, that's for sure. I'm just working on a charity scarf, because the funny story behind that is my niece, who's 4, asked for a scarf for Christmas, and I bought, just Knit Picks acrylic worsted because she's 4. But I made a huge mistake in terms of quantity. So I have so much of it. So this scarf challenge is a real windfall for me in terms of getting rid of the yarn. Because red is not my color. It's a color I would never choose. And I hate it. So I'm working on that. My mom is helping me right now. I'm working on my first sweater, Never Ending. My mom's unknitting it a little bit for me because I keep messing up. So it will be done in 2021 by hook or by crook. This thing will be done. I have like 3 or 4 more rows on the body, and then sleeves. And then I'm going to wear it all the time. It'll be finished as soon as it gets hot. So that's what I'm working on. Joan, are you working on anything?
I'm making another one of those scarves. That's you can kind of tell the detail. And then the other one is the hat that Riola and I are making. There it is in here. It's this dark color that I can't find it in my knitting bag. Here we go.
What's the name of your scarf?
It's the easy scarf pattern that's in the newsletter.
Okay.
And this one, you can kind of see the detail. That's that hedgerow hat. So that's Briola's and my challenge for ourselves. So it's some of the patterns that we're going to pick are not free. This is a local designer, so I mean it's nice to support our local people. And if they aren't all going to be where you have to pay for them, but sometimes we've bought patterns and it's in your queue. And that's the other thing I said, we're going to have to go into our queue to find hats that we said we're going to make these and just never got to them. So that's what I'm going to try to work on, scarves and hats. So I'm working on one of each today. Is it?
Samantha, do you have anything for show and share?
One more thing before
Oh.
Samantha. If anybody has a particular yarn that you would like to see the guild purchase for the scarves during this portion, can you let me know the name and I'll just keep a list and then I'll know better what people like to knit with. Carry on.
Gail Saxton, do you have anything that you want to show?
Well, I'm working on one of the charity scarves from Jones Pattern. It was in the newsletter. New Year's resolution about stash busting, of course. And I'd like to say too that I have yarn in the pattern for the hedgerow hat. I think it's really great that you're highlighting some local designers that we might not encounter otherwise.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gail.
Vicky, do you have anything? I can show the picture you sent me if you'd like. I can try to screen share it.
Yeah, that would be great. That was the octopus garden that I mentioned, I think, last month that I did finish. And I used 2 cakes of Noro Ito. And I thought one of the colors I picked was brighter. So I was really hoping for a more of a contrast.
Okay,
But
okay.
overall, I was happy with it. And I did make it, if you look towards the bottom, that bottom wave, those two sections of waves are basically German short rows. But I did make it about 10 more rows past that last short wave, that short row wave, just to make it a little bit bigger to use up more of the yarn I had. So that's what I most recently finished. And yeah, I like it. I like it.
What yarn
Then
did you use?
Pardon?
What yarn did you use?
Noro Ito, ITO. It's their worsted weight.
It's beautiful.
It's about 400 and plus yards per cake. So it's one that it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm working on, sure you can't really tell, but it's a repeat of the exact same fan kimono cardigan that I finished earlier this year. It was a little tight because I started it probably 25 pounds ago. So I bought a little bit more yarn of the same color, which is a Morocco cotton, Pima cotton, I think. And I'm just basically knitting the exact same thing, only a little bit bigger. The pattern calls for a worsted weight and this is a DK. So I'm having to, recalculate all the repeats in the rows to get the dimensions I want. But I will say it is going a lot easier since I know what I'm doing, but it's also one that's all, when it's a knit or when it's a purl on the right side, it's all in the back. So it's not as fast a knit as I had hoped. But I like it. I really like the openness of it. And I'm really being brave this time and not using any lifelines. So the minute I say that, I'm probably going to have a boo-boo. So I'm going to put a lifeline in after I finish this row. But I do have a serious question, if you don't mind, on the financial report. We as an organization don't have really significant expenses and haven't had for several years. So I'm just curious, do we have a long range strategy for that money? Is there anything major that we plan on doing?
I would say at this point, I would say we have never talked about long range. I can only speak, I guess, to my perspective, and we can certainly talk about it at the next board meeting, but I guess I would call myself a fiscal conservative. And the reason is that when I started at the Guild, I remember my second meeting was the meeting when the Guild was literally about to run out of money. It was the meeting where we had to raise dues and we had to pay for postage for newsletters and we had to cancel the storage unit. And it was in a pretty grave, I guess, financial situation. And I will also say that since I've been on the board, I guess 3 years now, I have heard from at least 3 prior board members who told me that during those times and as the guild was building back up the treasury, that they were laying out their own personal money just to keep things afloat. And they would pay for things and they would not ask the guild for reimbursement because they couldn't, there was no money.
Right.
So I guess from my perspective, I certainly don't want to see us ever back in a situation like that. And as I said, I guess a couple months ago when we talked about not charging dues, literally those people are the reason that we don't have to charge dues next year, is because those people held us up financially when we didn't have the money. And, and we all kind of, we paid the extra dues and whatever. I mean, that was people's money that kind of got us back to where we are. I can certainly see that there's probably, we should probably talk about long-term. And I guess, people talk about spending it down. To me, that's, that just, I'm like hanging on to it however we can. That's just my perspective though. So if you have an idea, or if anybody has ideas, you can certainly always submit them to us.
Can I make a statement here?
Sure.
It's Gracia, and I really would like to see us. We had talked about having a speaker, a famous knitter, and it would involve travel and everything. But with this pandemic, we've learned that really you can have wonderful meetings via Zoom, and they might be willing for a fee to Zoom. They don't have to travel, so we could get some people we ordinarily wouldn't be able to get. But I really would like to hear some famous people. Maybe we could even get Nikki Epstein or somebody that famous, because all they have to do is show up for an hour or so, on their Zoom. So I'd like to suggest that, because I really would like to see some more lessons, like really.
Yeah,
great.
That's a great idea. And I will say, some of you know that I'm also a woodworker. In fact, going to be president of the guild next year. But one of the things that we have done these last 9-10 months is done just that. We have brought in, they call them the big dogs of the woodworking world, to do presentations and to do how-tos and to do lectures, and it's been great. And as you said, it's easy for everybody, and they don't have to put out much. And I don't think the fees we've paid have been hardly anything, maybe a couple $100. I mean, really not much. So if there are those that are willing, I would say that it's definitely something to pursue.
I think some teachers are doing that now.
Yeah.
They're offering it.
Yeah, Teresa, if you have some names and you want to send them to either to me or through the guild website to Kathy Schoenlaw as education, send the names and we'll talk about it and we'll start reaching out. I don't have any issue with that at all. I think it's a good suggestion, but let us know who you want to see.
Weren't we gonna get what we were talking, the board was talking about getting Ann Conzen to
Ann is gonna
something.
Yeah, and she has replied to that and said yes. I was asking the board members to let me know. She gave us a list of topics, and I asked everybody to give us what they thought would be the most relevant, I guess, or important to them. And Short Rose is the lead right now, but I got your point, Samantha, about having another class maybe for cabling, a cable needle. So maybe that's paying her an additional fee to do an additional class. I don't know. She's tied up for the next 6. Somebody is laughing, and I'm.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm present. I'm present. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway, she's tied up for the next 6 weeks doing Zoom training classes on the weekends. So whatever we schedule is going to be probably after the middle of February. But we are working on that here locally. And if anybody wanted to do a presentation with Patty Lyons, I think is doing knitting, sweater knitting online. And I'm sure other people are doing things like that as well. So send me those names if you'd like to, and I can research and try to locate these folks. Maybe reach out and ask them if they'll be willing to do something. But it's working out with the Zoom. We don't have to pay tickets, flight tickets, hotel tickets. So
Would a Zoom knit along work?
we talked about that at one of our meetings, and I guess it could. The problem I have with Zoom is you can't really see the definition of stitches. You know, you can knit. You know, we tried it. We tried it at a board meeting, and basically, it's me doing this. You know, so it was a lot harder than you would have thought. But with a speaker or somebody who's doing the training who knows how to show these things, and it's usually stitches or it's usually some technique. It's not really straight knitting. It works a lot better because it's they can zoom in on the one thing they need to do.
I know it's you.
I just had somebody point out also as well. I'll say this and then we'll continue on with the show and share. You know, if you have something, send it to the board. We are happy to investigate anybody. But if we are able to meet in 2021 and the headquarter library is closed because they are going to close down for renovations, we are also going to have an expense of a meeting site too. So I don't know what that's going to be or where it's going to be, but that's just something to consider. So,
Okay, sorry to.
That's okay. No, it's okay.
No, I mean it's
legitimate.
Glad you brought it up, Vicki, because I know people are wanting something.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to other local people. They're doing their own thing, and they don't really want to get involved in a Zoom presentation to the guild. But Anne was gracious enough to accept my request and gave us a short list of things that she could cover and for a nominal fee. So, you know, we're going to jump, I think, with that first. But Patty Lyons, like I said, I know is doing some online sewing or knitting classes for sweaters. She's probably doing other things as well. And, you know, it'd be a lot cheaper to do it over Zoom as opposed to doing it with them in town. So, yeah, I agree.
I know Tanis Gray, who was supposed to do a weekend of online Zoom workshops at Curious Crafter before she closed, is doing similar Zoom workshops for another yarn shop.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's an idea too.
All right. Well, you guys have all of our emails, and you can also get us through the Facebook and through our website. So if you have ideas, feel free to send them to us, and then we will collect them all. And at our next board meeting, we'll talk about them and start reaching out. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mary Fisher, do you have anything to show and share?
I am making a, I've adjusted it because of the change in yarn. This is a worsted, a Jacques Cousteau hat for a friend of mine is having chemotherapy and he's totally bald and he's like, my head is always cold. So I'm just doing it's a 2x2 rib and he's got a unique way of, or they have a unique way of shaping the crown. It comes out really cool looking. So
Nice.
That's what I'm working on.
Jody, are you working on anything?
Well,
Me?
yes. I was undoing lots of knots in my yarn as the meeting was starting, and I'm looking down because I'm daring myself. I have this much yarn to try to do a little headband. I like making those little tendrils. And I made one for my grandson. My grandson is biracial and his hair is like this. So I had to use a lot of that yarn on him to make a little headband thing. And it was so cute because I do decorative, you know, shiny thing, fun. I'm mainly a quilter, but I knit because I knit out my stress. And I was involved in a bad car accident a few months ago, and I've had a lot of stress, and there was, and I'm kind of not a, I'm a rectangle square knitter, basically. You know, I never moved beyond, and I really do want to learn new things. Like, I'd love to knit a toddler sweater. I'd love to finish it too. So those are the things that interest me. The last thing I was going to say, and this isn't, and this may be my misunderstanding, but at the end, I think I know I was a member last year, and then you guys asked for the dues to be turned in, so I turned in my dues. And now I'm hearing, oh, you don't have to pay your dues. So I hope you got my check. You can keep it.
No, that is for
But
2021.
if you,
So
2021 is when we're.
yes.
Oh, okay.
You have to
So
pay.
I did good. I did good.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. It wasn't you, Katie. It was more me. What am I missing? So.
Not a problem.
But yeah, I like to do socks, and I'm also, I'm sure none of you have this problem. I am a perfectionist, and that when I have a new granddaughter, and so when I try little baby booties, I rip them out a million times, and because they have to be perfect. And so I'm really driving myself crazy. And if anybody has a good solution to that, not to be so perfectionistic and make the best pair of baby booties in the whole wide world, lay it on me.
You
Thanks.
just need to
If you
call
can't
those
see it from a
mistakes.
speeding car, nobody else can see it either, and just let it go.
Yeah, you need to call those mistakes design elements.
Yes,
Yeah.
you go.
You know what it is? It's constantly changing my mind too. It's not even mistakes. It's like, oh, no, go with this. No, go with that. No, go with. So then I don't get anything accomplished. So anyway, but it's nice to see everybody in the group, and hopefully someday we'll get together again.
Amen.
Laura, do you have anything to show and share?
I'm just working on one of those scarves. It's, yeah.
Love to hear it.
I've got about 10 more inches to go on this one.
Perfect.
I know.
Joni, do you have anything? You're
I
not on
can't get,
video.
Your
something's
video's not
wrong.
up.
I know, I can't get on video. I got thrown off, and then when I came back on, it wouldn't come on with video, but I'm working on my second toddler leg warmer.
Nice. Sabrina, anything that you're working on?
So I finished like 2 long rectangles, and I just kind of sewed them together so they were like neck warmers.
Awesome.
Mary Dale Bannister, anything?
I just finished this silver leaf shawl. I put it on, it's out on Ravelry that you can go out and look. I can't show my screen here. So I was really pleased with that. It was a yarn that my husband insisted that I buy when I was in the yarn store buying yarn for somebody else. Be a good husband.
Yeah.
And
What
and
did
then
he want?
I had this other like orphan skein of sock yarn that I bought. It's Malabrigo sock, and I just love it. It's a crimson color. I really like it's got a little bit of variation in it. But I'm trying to make this, and I'm gonna say it wrong, I'm sure. Rochambeau. It's and with my background, it's not gonna show.
Yeah, it just looks like
But it's a cowlette that comes to a point in the front and is a cowl in the back. And it's a nice lacy pattern called Rochambeau. I can't find the designer on the printout right here right now. Oh, here, Karina Spencer. So I'm working on that right now.
Ursel, do you have anything?
No, nothing at the moment.
No problem. Lee, do you have anything?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got 2 hats. They were charity hats.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah. And I finished a pair of socks.
Nice.
Nice.
And while we were on making something for a friend of mine that I found out is going through chemo, just had her second vaccine though. So
Good for her.
yay for that. So that's
Yay.
it.
Awesome. Barbara Whitman.
Yes. So this is 6 foot long more Afghan that I've
Nice.
knitted as a wedding present.
Oh,
And I like it because it has multiple different kinds of stitch challenges in it. I also like it because you can use the thick and chunky yarn, and I use your basic Lion brand thick and chunky, and I get the beige that has the flecks in it, so you get some variation in color, and it's washable. Which to me, for an Afghan kind of thing, is the big thing. I also have spent probably the last year knitting boobs. I happen to be one who needs boobs as a supplement due to surgery, and I ran across the Knitted Knockers group and have spent about a year knitting boobs. And I've now been I have been quarantined from knitting until I finish a project for work. And I have some questions. So I literally just this minute out of the mail got my membership card. So not only is this my first meeting, it's my first day as an official member. I know nothing about all these links that you're talking about. I have no newsletters. I don't know how to access any of that. So may I suggest when you take in new members, you send a page that has all that on it? So we know what those resources are.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Barbara, this is Gracia again. I'll be happy to send you a newsletter with all that in it. Did you get last month? You got last month's newsletter, didn't you?
No.
January?
No.
I sent it to you. Whoa.
I've gotten nothing. In fact, I had to go tracking down whether I had been accepted as a member, because after I sent in the stuff last month, I didn't get anything. So I don't know where you sent it, but I didn't get it.
Did you wanted it in the mail, right? Not
correct.
Email. Okay, I'll look into it and get it off to you again. I don't know what happened. I can't
remember
it mail being what it is. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But I'll send that right away. And then they have a lot of information. I'll make sure you get an issue with information about these things we're talking about.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
And also welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. My friend Debbie Throne is a member as well, and she and I work together, and we do a lot of talking about knitting. So
awesome. Glad to have you.
You're in the right place.
I notice a mother-daughter. I don't know if I can talk my daughter into it.
You probably can. As the daughter, you probably can.
Okay, yeah.
Deborah Reese, do you have anything for show and share?
I do. I don't know how well my light's going to let you see it. I'm starting a pair of socks for my son. So they're green, but they kind of look blue on the screen. And this is my first time doing 2 at a time, toe up. I'm going to try the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I think, I'm not quite sure yet. Any suggestions for that? I'm looking for a really good heel. He wears out socks terribly.
Don't ask me. I don't like making socks.
Oh.
Who likes to make socks?
Well, I do.
I think I've done like slip stitch. Go ahead, Jody.
You know, I started doing Cat Bordeaux's sweet tomato heels.
I'm familiar with those.
I could not for the life of me, and I went to Notorious to try to master those Fish Lip Kiss sock heels. If you do it, I want to learn from you.
Well, I'm not sure I'm quite ready for it either, but we'll see. I've got about 6 more inches to go before I really have to figure it out.
Deborah?
And Jody, to your notion, I want to show you this, and you probably can't see it either, but I'm doing a Ruana. It's called the Turkey Trot Ruana.
Ooh, I like
that
that.
Marley Bird put out. And this is the right front part of it. And I want you to take a look really closely. You probably can't see it, but if you probably can. But I have a whole row of cables that I missed.
Oh.
20 rows ago.
Oh.
I'm not fixing it. I'm almost positive that my friend will never know the difference. And I'm
the
not
only one who knows it.
And I don't have to look
And
at it.
you know, the other thing that I learned as a quilter is if you make a mistake, do it twice and call it a pattern. That's
I
what
can do
someone
that.
said.
I can do that. This is the first
Or
half.
another idea is that is your signature. There's no other like that. So that is very authentic.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I let it go.
Well, thank you for making me feel better.
Well, good.
So the mantra that I use when I do something like that is like our Native Americans, you must always have one mistake, and I dare people to find it.
Well, I might do that because she'll
You,
have
you
fault
don't know
finding it.
Gerda, do you?
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
This is the
Wow.
area shawl by Lene Ornstein. And I'm using one of our members' yarns in this. This is Honey Girl Farms. Cottage
Gorgeous.
Garden. And it doesn't show up very well here, but it's really a pretty shawl.
That's
What's the name of the
beautiful.
pattern again, please?
It's called Area.
TVG.
AERIA
You're on TV. Look.
by Lene Ornstein.
AERIE.
And it's, speaking of short rows, that's all these are short rows. You can see how they all look a little bit different. And they all are done exactly the same way. Exactly.
What are those colors? It's like, there's a pink, and then is it a blue or a navy?
Well, it's a lot of different colors. There's pink and blue and purple and yellow and orange. There's all colors. If you can picture a garden, a cottage garden, it was named perfectly. So
Are they German short rows?
they are German short rows. And the interesting thing of it is since all of the leaves are done exactly the same way, what gives them their style and their bend is the German short rows in the black part of it. So you're doing the German short rows for the leaves and German short rows for the placement of the leaves.
I think her yarn is really beautiful.
It
I got some for my mom for Christmas. Because one of my Christmas goals was to shop local, and I think her yarn.
Did you go to her store?
She has beautiful yarns.
Oh, I did it online.
Well, I actually took the time to go out and visit the store, and I really had a nice visit with her. So
What's the name of the store and the person, please?
Honey Girl Farms. Her name is Shanna Harding. She's one of our members, I believe.
Oh, so where's that located?
It's located. I can't remember the name of the town.
Way out.
Way out.
It's like
okay, so that's not local for me.
The middle of nowhere. It's about a 45-minute drive.
It's about a 45-minute drive, but she's, kind of local to us when you talk about national or international.
Right.
So I didn't mind.
She has a website. So if you don't want to make the trip, you can check out her website. She's got really beautiful stuff.
She really does. This is a hat that I did. It has some cables in it, and my little fur pom-pom, my faux fur pom-pom. And then I did, this is really odd looking when you look at it, but it looks awesome on.
Oh, cool.
It's a cowl that's kind of just, and it's nothing but pearls and knits in a spiral.
Can I interrupt you? Can you tell me what the order you did of the knits and the pearls? Because it has a texture to it, which is really.
Well, it's done in a spiral, so that's why it has the texture.
Okay.
What's the name of that pattern?
Hang on a second.
That's something like worm or.
It's not. It's like a worm. It has the same characteristics of a worm, but it's not the worm.
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Well, maybe when you post it, you can add the pattern.
It's called the Willow DK.
What?
Can I ask a super beginner question? When you knit with circular needles, is that what you use to knit things round, or is it just to knit things longer?
I use circulars for everything.
So do I.
Both.
Me too.
But it is, yeah, you can both.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a really good question. That's not an odd question at
Yeah.
all.
Because just
It's
because it's a
less stressful.
circular, yeah, just because it's a circular, I mean, you can still go back and forth.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
takes
Just
the
don't join
pressure
it
off
in the
of your arms
round.
of holding something that's really big and
Right.
heavy.
Right.
The cables hold the weight for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all
What
I've
was
got.
what was the name of the cowl again?
It's called the Willow DK cowl.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'll tell you the designer in just a minute. Amelia Lyon is the name of the designer.
Have you worn that? Because I'm wondering how hot it is.
Well, you know, it's really great for outside. No, I have not worn it because it's actually a gift. But I will tell you that I'll share a failure because I have to go back and fix it. When I went in, I'm trying to remember the name of the bind off, but it's got a really pretty like picot edge on it. So it's a picot bind off. And when I tied it off, I made the mistake of wrapping my extra yarn around the needles. So it's too tight. I have to take off my bind off or take out my bind off and redo it so that it's not so tight. But lesson learned. But I love the pattern. I love working it, and I'll probably make another one. I would say it's super warm.
I would bet.
Yeah.
Deborah, do you have anything else?
No, that's enough, isn't it?
Okay. Jackie Landau, do you have anything to show and share? No?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. A friend of mine had gifted me some yarn. It's pink with some green and blue flecks in it, and then it had a large piece of yarn that was just green.
No,
And it
Bless you.
socks that I can give back to her.
Oh, cute.
Those, yay, they're done.
Pretty.
Cute.
I wanted to mention is I started on one of the scarf projects. And one thing I don't like about scarves is that they're itchy around my neck. But I found this yarn and I made myself a scarf out of it. It's Bernat velvet. And it is so soft. I'm crocheting with it. It's really hard to crochet with, but I knitted a hat out of it. And it's so soft. It's really easier to knit with this stuff than it is to crochet with it. But it's really, really soft. So you were looking for suggestions for scarf yarn. And this is just beautiful, soft, not irritating on your neck. So that's a thought.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Harris, do you have anything for show and share?
No, Katie.
No? Okay. Dee Dee, do you have anything for show and share?
Oh, yeah, I sure do. Am I on? Can you hear
You're
me?
on. We can hear
Okay.
you.
Well, it's like I've got my Christmas sock done for next year, and I'm working on the second one. This was yarn I got from Rachel like last year, and I made my sister and I matching gloves out of it. And with the leftovers and stuff, I still have another skein. I've got enough to make probably 2 pairs of socks. So maybe she'll get a pair next year. I don't know. And then in the meantime, I had, we've had a lot of health issues in our family with my daughter. She's having kidney problems now. This is the one that had all the COVID stuff. She had the COVID back in August. She's still sick. She still can't go back to work. And so it's one of those deals that, you just, she's 43. And then my son's fiance, who's the same age as Sarah is, she had COVID too. And I just talked to her yesterday. Now she's supposed to go back to work on Monday. And she's just, really dragging ass. It's just, this COVID thing has been ugly out there. So anyway, I got all my stuff done. I made her some socks for Christmas, and I did a
a couple of pairs of fingerless mitts. I've got them in my projects. And then I did a Christmas scarf for one of the girls. But my daughter said, "Oh no, they'll never wear that." Well, guess what? They loved it. So I've been doing some dyeing, some yarn dyeing.
Wow.
And I already kicked this
nice.
up. It's colors that are like an ochre color and shades of a green, and there's really not browns, but then there is some brown kind of in it. I don't remember if I put brown in it or not, but I couldn't get the dye to fully exhaust, and trying to do that, I ended up felting it just a little bit. So it's okay. It'll work fine for a hat. I think I'm going to make myself some really warm winter socks. So then another one of that, I also gave a few things away for Christmas gifts. So this one turned out real good. This is a worsted weight. It's a skein. I've been for the past couple of years collecting yarns and things that I knew I could dye that I got at a real cheap price type thing. So that one turned out good. And then I had 3, and I have a 4th one downstairs. I haven't messed with that one yet. 4 sock blanks that I ended up picking up at a good price. So here's one. Of course, they're in it's knit together. It's from Knit Picks. They were knit together. So you dye it just like we did out there at Notorious, 2 years ago, maybe? And then this one turned out pretty fun. I love the colors in it. And then this one turned out really good. This was a speckle attempt. This turned out nice. And they're fingering weight. And then this one's kind of weird. It's not at all what I thought I was going to end up with, because I thought it would be light pink mostly, but it's really more purpley blue and pink.
Ooh, that's
Pretty though.
But what I did was, like when we did the project out at Notorious, I stamped my sock blank, and it turned out really cool. It turned out really interesting. And so for this one, on the short ends, I did blue on both ends, and then for down the length of it, which would be the vertical knitting, I did like stripes of the blue, and then had them, an inch or 2 apart, and then I filled it in with the pink. Well, all kind of sort of semi blend together, but it turned out fun. That's what I'm trying to do, is just have some fun with it. And so I think these are going to knit out pretty good. And I like socks. Now I forget who it was that was asking for, sock stuff. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is my thinking. So I do all my socks top down, and I do them one at a time. I have never done those fish lips things, and I've never done toe up. So it's just.
I like toe up because you can try them on.
Yeah, but you can try them on sock, top
Yeah,
down too.
I try mine on and I do them.
But you can't try the sock and the toes on until you get the toes.
Well,
yeah, you can't.
When I knit, 15 rows is what I use for the closure of my toes, and 15 rows in fingering weight on a 0 needles, which is what I usually use, is 1.25 inches. Okay. So, and I can check that at any time on the foot as I get down there, and I know for myself how far I need to go, because I keep track of. I've got footprints from all my kids and grandkids with drawn around, and I've got my husband too. I've got measurements for all of those things. So I know how, when I come and get down into here, that I know what 15 rows is, and I can try it on. And then if my toes are sticking out here, well, no, I know I need to go a little bit further, because here's where it starts. So just for me, I don't have a problem with that. And I do have the heel turn, which is what you do on this kind. And I have had 1 or 2 pairs of socks wear out down in here. Somebody was asking about what to do for heel stuff. The one pair was made with a tencel blend, and it draped beautifully, it knit beautifully, it looks stunning, but it's not sturdy. I mean, I didn't wear them that often. And then I have one of my very first pairs of socks, and that's been probably 8 or 9 years ago when I made these. and they have started to wear in the center of the heel a little bit, not back here, not in here, but at the bottom of my foot. So
Well, there are so many different styles of heels out there, and I know I'm not a sock knitter usually, and I was the one that was asking. My son wore through the only pair of socks I ever made for him in like 2 months. And I found out that it was a combination of the way he wears socks, the fact that I had made him with the size 2 needle, I think it was too loose.
Too loose, yeah.
Loose. Plus the sock yarn that I used was called sock yarn, but it really wasn't sock yarn. So it didn't have any nylon in it. And I was too inexperienced to know all those things. So I think a lot of your knowledge comes with the experience you've got after doing it for so long. And now I'm knitting with a size 1 needle. So
yeah, that's an okay size.
So they're tighter. It's just that knowing that he wears his bottom of his heel out, I want to be sure that I'm doing the right thing to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, what I would suggest that you do is look for the sock nylon. It comes in like a little spool, kind of looks like a metricine spool of thread. And it's nylon that you can hold and knit in there while you're doing the area that he does, that he wears out, I mean, and then you can cut it and work it in there so you don't see that.
Even if you're using nylon in the sock too? I mean,
yeah,
okay.
it would help with that. My husband, I'm a fishing widow yesterday and today, and I made him some fishing socks out of some Ella Ray worsted yarn that I didn't care for how I had made a sweater, and so I had this brown color, and it had really kind of pilled. I was very disappointed in that aspect of it. It does not have the nylon in it, so it's all wool, but they're thick enough, and he doesn't fish constantly. He goes every month or a couple times a month basically, but they keep his feet warm in those wader boot things that he wears. And I've also knit him fingerless gloves out of fingering yarn that keep his hands warm. He has one pair that has no fingers to it, and then another pair that these 3 fingers are finished. I think it's these 3, and then the thumb and first finger are halves, so that he can tie the little knots and things that he does for the different fish hooks and stuff like that. So
that's a good idea.
I've seen patterns
but
where,
again, that's another thing. Put their hand down, draw around all their fingers, and you have measurements, and you can kind of go by, oh, well, this yarn's kind of on the thin side. I can't do 15 rows. I need 18 rows. You know what I mean? I kind of gauge it by that. And of course, he lives here, so I have him try them on.
Well, thank you for the tips. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Joni, were you trying to say something just then?
no, I just said I've seen patterns for those fingerless mitts where you have the 3 fingers in a mitten and then the index finger and the thumb, and some of them are free.
Oh, well, I have my own pattern.
Oh,
I've done them enough times that
yeah.
Well, and I use Stephanie's winter flower as a guide for something for the girls, and then also for my son. I made him a pair and sent him out to California. Well, hell, it's 80 degrees out there now. They don't need them.
Yeah, but if you don't have your own pattern, then there are some patterns out there, and some of them are free.
Oh, sure.
Dee Dee, anything else?
No, I think that's about it. I just been staying inside, trying to stay safe like everybody else, and it's what it is out there right now. And I think the Zoom class type thing, getting a teacher would be a great idea for us. Because I miss not getting to see everybody and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Debbie, do you have anything, Debbie Throne, to show and share?
I do. For just in time for Christmas, I finished 7 of these. The pattern is called Broken Arrow. It's a Mobius scarf, and it's a really simple knit purl. But the yarn is from the Loopy U. Used to be local, and now Fort Collins. And they had a contest last year called Loopy Pet Legends. I don't know if anybody saw that or was part of it. And you got to put send a picture of your pet in, and if your pet got picked, then you got to pick the colorway for Dream in Color Smooshie, which had 20% cashmere to it. So that's why Gidget's been sitting on my lap. She was the winner.
Oh, God.
So the colorway that's here, it's kind of a beachy with blue and browns and things. And it's the Gidget colorway. And it just knitted up so beautifully. It was just like a dream going through my fingers. So if you get the chance to go to the Loop of You, there's a bunch of Pet Legends yarn there, and it's 20% cashmere, 10% nylon. So it would make a really nice pair of socks, luxury pair of socks and things.
Where's the Loopy U?
It's in Fort Collins, but they have a website, don't they, Debbie?
They do have they do have a website. They're now in Fort Collins. They used to be in St. Louis, and they had a lovely place where you could go and sit and pet yarn and everything. And then they moved out to Fort Collins. So now I do everything online with them. But nice shop, good people. They get things out really quick too.
Your dog is cute. Is she a Cavalier King Charles?
She is.
Kathy, she looks just like Chrissy.
I can't move my screen, so I can't see.
If you watch the recording, Kathy, you'll be able to see.
Okay.
She's the same color as Chrissy and everything.
Well, she's a sweetheart, but she is stubborn. And sitting up here walking up for show and share, she was like, "Can I get down now, please?" So I'll let her down.
Okay. Anything else, Debbie?
No, thank you.
No problem. Miss Melba, you're next. Do you have anything to show and share?
Yes, I do.
I miss Melba.
Hi, I finished my socks.
Yay!
Yay! This is the yarn we dyed at the Gateway Retreat that time at Notorious.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just starting a scarf for the guild for the project. You can't see it.
But we know it's there.
Yeah, it's chocolate brown. You can't see it.
That's pretty. I can see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Melba. Flora, do you have anything to show and share?
Yes, I've made a baby cap. Can you see it?
Hold it up a little bit.
Hold it up by your
face.
face.
We go, right there.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh.
Baby
Cute.
cap. And then I'm making this basket weave shawl to go with it.
Cute.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Good to see you, Flora.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has the border.
Yeah, that's pretty, Flora.
Yeah.
Also, we're glad to see you. We're glad you're at the meeting.
Well, thank you. I was trying to get in.
You did it.
You made it.
I know.
Okay. Sharon, do you have anything to show and share?
Yes. I'm working on a scarf. It's a basket weave. Can you see it?
Yep.
And then I just about finished this hat. It's a slouchy hat. And I just have to bind it off. I'm just about done. So that's it.
Nice. May, do you have anything to show and share?
No, I'm still working on a test knit, and I haven't gotten the edging that she wants put on it yet. You have a designer with 6 kids during this, taking her time.
Yeah, I'm sure she's grateful for you test knitters for sure.
Yeah. The other thing I'm doing is going through all of my yarn to rearrange it and see what I've got that I didn't remember I had.
Always a good thing to do. Chelsea, do you have anything to show and share?
Yeah, I think I showed one of them actually last month because I had finished one of these nuthatch mitts for my husband because he's a birder, and I finally got the yarn, so I'm working on the other one to go with it.
Beautiful.
Pretty. I love it.
Nice.
And that's all I got right now.
What about, wait, Chelsea, didn't the
Yeah.
sweater you have on, didn't you just finish it? I saw it on.
Yeah, I did. I
fabulous.
posted it on Facebook. Thank you.
Look at
It
the
was my
sweaters
it's
you
my
did.
very
It
first
is
sweater.
amazing.
That's your, Chelsea, that's your
It is
very first
amazing.
sweater.
Yes, it's my first one because I'm
Oh.
crazy and I couldn't just pick something simple. I had to have color
Simple.
work.
Chelsea, that made me feel very bad about myself, which is not your fault.
Don't. It's why it took me a year to do it. So
That's not bad.
Katie, here's yours. Here's Katie's.
You can't see it. It's blue.
And I am knitting it backwards and don't know what the hell she did. She has made a mistake, people. She's made a mistake.
So Chelsea, one of the first things that I knitted about 25 years ago was a Christmas pantsuit. And it took me 4 years to knit it. And I just threw it away this year because I had so much work in it. I couldn't stand to get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I do like your colors so much, Chelsea. I think your colors.
Thank you.
What pattern is that from?
It's called Birkin. It's from Boylan Knitworks or Caitlin Hunter. I want to make like everything that she publishes because her designer talent is so beautiful. So
It's beautiful.
I'm excited to make something else now. I've been teaching my oldest daughter, she just turned 8, to knit. And so she got this Harry Potter, the Tanis Gray Harry Potter knitting book as a Christmas present. And it is so beautiful. Like, I want to make some of this stuff for me. But I have so many other projects in queue. It's going to be hard to get it all done.
Well, the sweater is lovely.
Thank you.
I'm not jealous, but I am a little bit. Kathy, do you have anything? Kathy Schoenberg?
I sure do. Well, I've got 2 things here, one of which is a sock, and I can't see who's talking about wanting to make socks with a sturdy heel because my screen won't move, but I'm working on a pattern called Number 1 Husband Socks.
Oh.
And that heel is a very sturdy heel. So if you pull up that pattern on Ravelry, it's free, but it works real well because my husband's a hunter and he wears boots a lot. So I've never had a heel go out on it.
Number 1 husband socks?
Number 1 Husband Socks.
Thank you.
Let me pull it up. I got my Ravelry thing here. I call it Quentin Quarantino on Ravelry, but it's Number 1 Husband Socks.
Thank you.
And that heel pattern is what I use, but I also use Schlockenmeyer Regia, which ends up being a very excellent yarn for socks. Wears well. So I think it's available at Meyer's house.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this is Number 1 Husband has Number 1 big feet. So this is 2 skeins of yarn, and what I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah.
This is a 10-inch cuff and a 14-inch shoe.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. So he wears a size 14 shoe. So I've been knitting on this all my life. But I had to buy 2 skeins, I have to tell you, because 1 skein was not enough. I knew that. So whatever's left, I'll make myself some shorties. Here's the second one, and I've finished turning the heel. I'm trying to show this without getting my hand in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm working on the straight part, which is going towards the toe. And I always know when to start reducing for the toe. I use the general gauge of hitting the first joint on the big toe.
Yeah.
So when I hit the joint on the first big toe, I start doing my decreases every other row. But I still, I go ahead and try it on again, throughout, just to make sure I'm on track. The yarn is knitting up the way it's supposed to. And it seems to work real well because my husband's very picky and he hasn't complained about these yet. So that works out for me. And then the other thing I'm working on is a sweater. And I just lost it. This is a pattern from Notorious called Knitting Pure and Simple. Top down shawl collar cardigan, which some of you saw the other night when I was asking about the size. And I did everything you guys suggested. I even washed my gauged my swatch, and it came out to exactly what I needed. But I am using a smaller size needle than required on the pattern. So I'll try to show you what I've got. I mean, this is top down and with a raglan sleeve, and you might be able to see the area where the raglan starts. I don't know if you can. It's hard to, this is why we haven't had a knit along on Ravelry. It's really hard. But there's the increased stitches there. So I have to build this out, and then when I get to 88 stitches in the back between the two markers, I have to start doing something different to create the sleeves. So that's kind of where I am on this one. So far, it's not a bad pattern, and I've worked on it even while we're talking, so it's worked out. And the only other thing I have right now is another charity hat, which I did. This is called a Spiralini. I'm trying to get,
it's pretty.
And you can see how it twirls.
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. So I just did this on Karen Simply Soft Sparkle, I think it's called, just because I thought it'd be a fun hat for a kid. So I'm still going to have some hats to turn in next year, but good fun knit. And Joan, is Joan still here? Joan Rangel?
No.
I had to unmute myself. Yep, I'm still here.
I was going to ask you, should we have some sort of a goal for scarves?
I was trying to figure out how many feet in a mile.
5,280.
5,295. 5,280. I don't think we're good. But I thought, well, I'm going to measure feet on the scarves just to see, and maybe a quarter of a mile. I mean, that's.
I don't know. 6 feet on a scarf.
I can pick the lofty goals, can't I?
Yeah.
That's an awful lot. But yeah, we'll, if as we come up with things, I'll post it on Ravelry and put it in the newsletter. But
it'd be fun to see all those scarves, laid out.
I'll put them on my fence.
Yeah.
hang them on the curtain behind me.
There you go.
We'll do something. I think it'd be interesting to see. But I thought measuring in feet might be fun, because that's
if each scarf is 6 feet long, you only need 880 scarves.
That's all.
So I thought, and that's for a mile, though, right?
Right.
So that would be
a whole mile.
That would be 4
maybe
scarves.
a quarter. I'll go with a quarter of a mile. Let's see if we
4
can get that.
scarves per member.
220 scarves.
There you go. I think that's doable. By December 31st.
I'm sorry, Joan. Kathy, anything else to show and share?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, Judy Haynes, do you have anything?
Hi,
Judy.
Hi, Judy.
This is called the Gradient Band Cal.
Pretty.
Gradient what?
Gradient Band Cal by Joji Locatelli. And the yarn is Victoria House.
Yeah.
And I love the yarn.
That's beautiful.
And then I made, what is it? This is called On the Spice Market.
Oh, I made that. I love that.
Yeah, it's a good shawl.
Yeah.
And then I cast on some charity hats in memory of Nancy. These are the Genesis hat, and I got a free copy of it, but it's only a $2 pattern, and it's I can't think of the girl's name, but it was one of the ones that it was on the thread for the charity hat. She's looks like a very young girl who writes the patterns. So it was she had a cable hat pattern too on the thread that Joan came out. But this is also one of her hat patterns, and it's kind of a waffle weave. It's very cute. Real quick.
Like that.
Really cute. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Let's see. Linda, do you have anything for show and share?
No, I'm just knitting another hat for a little bit.
Love it. Okay. Sandra?
Yes, I'm making the lady that Judy was talking about.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm making her blushing braids beanie. I made one that I have finished. And I really love the pattern. It's so easy. It looks, I think it looks really good, but it's only a 4-row repeat. So it's really easy to memorize. So I started another one for charity. And then I'm also making a sweater for a new sweater for my dog.
That's
So,
cute.
and as far as the Zoom classes, I would love that. With living so far away from St. Louis, I can't participate in many of the meetings, or if it's like a weekend retreat or something, I can come up. But I would love to have anything on Zoom. That would be wonderful. And I think that you would probably have more participation with it on Zoom. Or that's my perspective on it. But
no, I mean, I think generally we're all learning to adapt, and we're learning new things as we adapt. So I think, we're learning what we can do.
Thank goodness for Zoom. It has helped so
Yeah.
many of us through this pandemic.
Right.
And I will say, every Zoom meeting that we've had a tick up of participants. I think this was our highest number so far.
Yeah,
We've
we
had
almost had
44.
50.
Yeah, I mean, that's
wow.
We had 48.
Yeah, that's amazing. Every month it's ticking up a little bit. So if there's something or someone you want to see, Sandra, just send us an email. But
okay, I'll be happy with anyone you choose.
Okay.
I like that. Easy to please.
Awesome.
Okay. Gracia, anything?
Did you all see my, am I showing here? Did you all see my sweater I did in the newsletter, the Teresita cape? It's really unusual. And I don't have a picture of it right now, but I put it in the newsletter and it's on my Ravelry feed. It's like a cape. My daughter asked for it and I'm like, how old are you? It looks like a granny cape. But she looks real cute in it. She likes it because when she's got a couple little kids, and she says that she's never hot enough in Texas to really need a coat, and she doesn't want to school with a school. So anyway, it was tricky. And so I urge you to look at it. I'm very proud of it. It was kind of easy to do, hard to assemble. The other thing I beg of everybody who wants to get your picture in print to send me a picture of your favorite thing and give me, all I need is a pattern name. And I would love to see some of these things. They're just great. And for the people who don't do Zoom. So yeah, so please send me pictures, send it to anybody and send me the name of the pattern.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who has been doing that and CCing me and Gracia.
And for the people that are new, I just wanted to say, for the people that are new, Gracia is our newsletter editor, and that's what she's speaking about. So
yeah,
she's
and I scour. If you don't get it to me or to Katie, I scour all the sites, Ravelry and everything. So if you get it on anything, all you need is the name of the pattern. Otherwise, I'll be emailing you, begging you for the name of the pattern. So anyway, that's good. That's it.
Thanks,
And
Gracia.
I urge you to look at my beautiful cape I did for my daughter in the newsletter.
Okay, I want to see it.
Okay. Eileen,
Yes,
do you have anything for show and share?
yes, I do. Well, while we've been talking, I started a hat for charity. My intention is that it'll be hedgerow, but I'm just on the ribbing, so I may change my mind. I used a new cast on for this. I wanted to try it. It's called Suzanne Bryan's Twisty Cast On. Each time it's a long tail and then you twist. And at first it was a little hard to get used to. And at first it didn't look really good, but once I got a couple rows of the ribbing in, it looks really nice. So I recommend that. And I'll post on Facebook or somewhere the link to the video with it. So that's that. And my bigger project, it's not really bigger, is I've been knitting my first pair of gloves.
Oh, nice.
So I'm actually having fun with this because I can knit one finger each evening. And then I feel like I got something done when I put it down. So this is my second glove. The first one turned out to be a little bit too small, so I will be knitting 3 gloves. I already raveled the first one, so this is number 2. Number 3 will be done soon.
That's funny.
That's it.
Thanks, Eileen. Mary Dale Bannister.
You got me already.
Oh, I did? Okay, my bad. Lori, anything?
Oh, just working on a baby hat.
Ew.
Cute.
Hey, what a novel idea, Lori, a baby
I
hat.
know. I'm so original. Yes.
She only has one grandchild. He's got this huge selection of hats.
Well, and this is because finally he has a winter coat. So of course he has to have a hat to match it. So
Yes,
of
course.
Yes.
I think it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Lori. Margie, do you have anything?
I'm currently, it depends on what room of the house I'm in. The family room has several pairs of socks that need to be finished. And that's where I keep my charity knitting most of the time. And I have a scarf and trying to use the same pattern in a hat pattern. But what I'm working on today is I tripped over a bag in my spare room and dug out what was in it. And the pattern is dated from 2004. It's called Truly Tasha's Shawl. And I've got quite a bit of it done.
Oh, wow.
It's a triangular shawl, but it has a very fancy border knit in. And when you get done with it, then you knit that same kind of border across the top of the shawl. And so when you put it on, I don't know whether this will show because it's in a pastel color. It looks like a collar on the shawl.
Yeah, you can see it.
And I think I've probably been knitting on this for 15 years.
Oh no.
And I'm knitting it in Lamb's Pride, which is 85% wool and 15% mohair. And it is my very favorite color, what I call periweevil blue. And I don't know why, and I was digging around in the knitting bag that it's in, and I found a tube of my very favorite hand lotion, which hasn't been manufactured for 5 years. So obviously I haven't touched it for 5 years, but I'm close to the 60 inches across. And so I think I'm probably going to finish it this next week.
Yay.
And we have to start taking the Christmas decorations down so I can get to my dining room table so I can block it. But when you were talking about all the sock patterns and everything, I just downloaded a pattern that Kate Atherley posted. I thought I had a picture of it right handy, but I don't seem to. Montclair sock, and it's a top-down sock, but she reinforces the heel flap and the bend in the toe. And I have 18 pairs of socks, and I've been knitting socks. I started knitting socks when Tracy moved to Reno, which was 15 years ago. And I'm still wearing all the socks, and I rotate the socks every day, and they get what I wear during the week gets washed and laid out to dry gets machine washed and lays out. And I use mostly opal yarns. And they wear like iron, and it's the standard 10% nylon in the wool.
Awesome.
So, but I'm looking forward to do the reinforcing the heel. None of my heels show any wear.
Maybe you have a light tread.
I don't know.
Thanks, Margie. Let's see. Gerda, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just knitted today. I knitted this. It's a free pattern.
You just did this today, Gerda?
August 10th. August 10th. I tried them out before I knit some for charity. So it has a Latvian braid here and a Latvian braid up here. So.
Oh, that's really pretty, Gerda.
Beautiful.
That's nice, Gerda.
I bought the yarn at Curious Crafter. I was looking. I wanted to knit a penguin head, and I was looking for that yarn because I like the Melba's penguin head. But then I ran across this yarn. I said, "Oh, I quickly knit this thing up."
What's the name of that one you have?
It's August. The August hat. It's knitted with Kelborn, Germantown yarn. It's a free pattern.
Oh, thank you.
What was it again? I'm sorry, Gerda.
August. Hat.
I think at one time somebody did a monthly hat. So
yeah, that was at Kelborn wool yarns.
Oh,
for that.
yeah.
So that's the month of August.
December hat, yeah, May hat, yeah.
Yeah,
This was
a whole year.
Is that the pattern or it's on Ravelry?
It's free.
Okay, right.
It's free.
On Ravelry?
Yeah, it's on Ravelry.
Yes.
And it takes worsted weight yarn.
Yes.
Nice. Anything else, Gerda, that you knitted today? I'm joking.
No.
I'm just teasing.
No.
I find that very discouraging, I have to tell you.
Okay.
Is Teresa still there? Teresa not Newrot? Sorry, Teresa. She always is knitting something beautiful. Is she there? She should be there.
She may have left. We had some people drop off.
Oh, okay.
Lynette, do you have anything?
Yeah. I made a Versa cowl. Did I show you that before?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, pretty.
Pretty.
And a hat to go with it.
Oh.
I just made up the hat. And then I made my daughter-in-law this sweater.
Oh, nice.
Pretty.
And it's called The Shift of Focus. And she found it on Pinterest. And then I had to hunt for it. I think the neck's too big. I'm going to maybe crochet around it and take it in.
I like the color a lot.
What is it? What's that pattern called, Lynette?
It's called The Shift of Focus.
Oh, is it on Ravelry?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's on Ravelry. That's all.
Thanks,
Do a
Lynette.
reverse crochet around it. That looks nice. You know, reverse crochet and take it in that way.
Yeah, because I think it's too big.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Thanks, Lynette. Jane, do you have anything to show and share?
Yeah. I'm not sure how to do that.
You can, if you just hold it up. We can
Hold
see
it up in front of your face.
Yep, we can see it.
There you go.
Yep.
What is it?
It's a hat and it's made out of wool from Patagonia.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's a reversible cable.
Oh, neat.
So since I made a scarf out of it, I thought it'd be kind of nice to have some matching hat.
Yeah. Nice. Also, Jane, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi,
This is my first time.
Yeah.
And I have to learn how to do the Zoom. If you noticed, my handle is Commodore. I'm a Commodore of a model boat club. I gotta do my Zoom and I'm not quite sure how to do that yet.
We're like the training wheels for your own meeting hosting. So
Yeah.
you
So
were
how
able-
do you get,
well,
I
that's-
noticed that, like for instance, I have everybody on the top. Okay. So how do you see the individual like you do that?
so if you go to the top right-hand corner,
Top right-hand corner.
it should say view.
Ah,
You can change it.
okay. So speaker view or gallery. Well, since I've been listening to, of course, I had to speaker view on. So that,
So if you want to see everyone's faces, you put it in gallery view.
right. Okay. So, but how do you get to show everybody full view?
You can't show everybody.
Speaker view.
No, I meant to speaker.
Oh yeah, that's speaker view.
Oh, okay. Just as you can tell.
Okay.
We're all learning. I had to learn. I mean, I'd never used Zoom before this year either. So anybody that I missed, did I miss anyone? We had a very robust show and share today.
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, lots of people here.
I know. Well, yeah, because we've got 7 minutes for social knitting. I like, I'm okay with a robust show and share, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Oh, Sandra.
Can I show my tags? I don't know if you can see them that I bought for my hats.
Well, let Sandra go because she was raising her hand. And
sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank you all for the generous offer of our free membership for next year. I had been a member years ago and I had dropped out for several years. I'm very happy to be back and thank you again for the free membership. That's a wonderful idea.
Thanks. Thank you. We are excited about it. All right, let's see if you can see these. So I bought these tags on, where did I find them? On Etsy. So you put them, I don't know if you can see them, but you put them on the edge of your hats.
Oh, yeah.
And I had them custom made. Can you see it?
Yeah.
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 So one side says handmade by me, SMH. And then if you flip the brim, I put a little picture of a knitting ball and knitting.
Oh.
And so they go on like the base of your hat. So all the hats I gave for Christmas, I gave as gifts. And so I like branded myself on all my family's hats. So that when they're wearing the hat, they must think of me because my initials are on there. But this is vegan leather, but it's clips on and you can unclip it if you wash, but it's not real leather. So you could keep them on when you wash it. And people on Etsy, you can just put just about anything in any color and all different kinds. I'm even thinking about putting them on the edges of my sweaters, like at the bottom of my sweater. Anyway,
That's a great idea.
I thought they were kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Barbara, did you want to say something? I saw your hand raised too.
Yes. When you send out the information to the new members, don't forget the email addresses of people.
For sure.
Well, we'll have to get you a member directory.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, because they're in there. And
is that for Barbara?
Yes. Yeah.
Barbara, I've already got yours in an envelope ready to mail.
Thank
you. So when you said that, I had some leftovers. It's not going to be as up to date. It was as of October, but it has information on Zoom and signing up for Remind and such. So you will get that, and we'll do another one at the end of the year or sometime this year. We'll do another printed directory.
Great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can find if you just follow us on Ravelry, there lots of people post there. We have a Ravelry group. That's under the Greater St. Louis Knitters Guild, and then all the Instagram stuff and should be in that directory when you get it from Joan.
Okay.
But for
'Cause I
anybody
found
that
you on
wants to
Facebook.
know on Instagram, you can look us up under our initials, with including the T. So it's the GSLKG.
I know. I have to think about it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an Instagram
Greater St.
account.
Louis Knitters Guild.
Yeah.
If you look us up on Instagram under those initials, you'll find us. Just follow us and we'll follow you back. And when people were talking about sending Katie pictures, Katie and Gracia, Katie posts them to Instagram. Mary Dale Bannister usually posts them to Facebook. And Gracia puts them in the newsletter. So that's all the places that we're using now to try to get pictures out to people.
Don't forget Ravelry. We
And
do post
Ravelry,
a lot on
well,
Ravelry
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I assume Ravelry, but yeah, Ravelry and yeah, those are our
Yeah,
social
Barbara
media.
has a Ravelry name, but I didn't know if she was, you know, looking at our thread yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Our forum.
So,
Yeah.
and
I
we
don't
always
have enough.
say, we always tell everybody post anything, or the merrier, post whatever you want, pictures, you want to, you know, start a knit along with your buddies, post it on Ravelry. It's a free for all. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Oh, how about yarn? Any other yarn?
No, but I have one other thing. I know Linda and I both volunteer at Little Bit, and I usually am in the receiving department. But one thing Little Bit has is they don't want hats that are just two colors. They prefer one or three or more. Apparently it's a gang thing if it happens to be two colors, and could be a problem. So if you could, at least three colors if you're going to do multi-colors. Right, Linda? That's still right?
I think it is, but I am planning when I get a chance to ask some of the people there again if that is a problem, the colors of the hats, because when I've been filling orders there and getting hats for kids, we have all different colors and kinds of hats. So it's possible that that is old information, and I will find out.
Okay, thank you.
And I put a note in the newsletter, the January newsletter has a guidance on hats. And several questions had been asked of me recently, so I included that information and just helpful hints as far as making the hats deep enough, making the hats, you know, make sure you sew in your ends. Don't make them too stiff, so use the appropriate needle size for your yarn. And just make it nice, like you would be something you'd give to a relative. But the frequently asked questions was the bit about color, because years ago we were not accepting red or blue solid colors. But now I have that, you know, are there color restrictions? And I had said generally no, but Little Bit Foundation is the only charity with color restrictions. They require hats made with one color or more than two. So at least that information is in the January newsletter with some other items too. The only thing that someone brought up too is sizes for hats. What size do you need? We can use anything, but I think Linda Wicks passed on to Kathy, who passed on to me, that 80 stitches, size 8 needle, worsted weight. And if you go to our Guild pattern book, which is on our website, you just have to log in with the password. And Barbara, if you don't have the password, should be on your membership card. The basic hat pattern that's been the standard for the Guild for years is 84 stitches, worsted weight, size 8 needle. You can go up or down, you can go to 7, you can go to 9, you can do 72 stitches instead of 84. But I think as a general rule, if you just stick with that around 84 stitches, it's a divisible by 12. So it's an easy decrease, and there's several patterns at the beginning that are using that basic hat formula. So, and again, it depends on your gauge and your needle size and your yarn weight. But you know, just as a basic, that's a good place to start. That's all I got.
The other part of that is, can you hear me?
You sound a little muffled, Linda.
The other part of that is an awful lot of the children who need our hats, probably in most charities, are of color, and the little girls have
A lot of hair.
Stuff, a lot of hair. So we don't want it to fit as tight as Gerda has hers fitting right now.
Hey, mine stretches.
Right, I was gonna say they stretch.
They stretch.
I don't think that'd be a problem.
Yeah. Be sure and leave a little extra room up in here because some of the kids have hair out to here, or at least, but a lot of the little boys have their heads shaved. So, but if we just allow for that extra hair, that is really good.
Okay. I think that might be it.
Yeah, it's getting about 4 o'clock. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Don't forget our knit-ins. We have a knit-in the second Wednesday and the fourth Saturday. All that information's on Ravelry and on the website. And please come. They're a lot of fun. And then this meeting every month as well. So if we don't see you at a knit-in, we'll see you next month.
Thanks.
Okay, great
Thank
meeting.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.